What do you want with me?
To see you liberated. To see you rise up and destroy your oppressor.
That's interesting advice coming from a slave owner.
Men have enslaved each other since they invented gods to forgive them for doing it. I've seen Jews build Egypt's glory. Seen Christians thrown to the lions with my own eyes. And I've seen Africans sell their own kind to Europeans. May I share one of the revelations of my 5,000 years? We're all slaves to something.
Dangers and misses, pitfalls and precipices, keeping the vampire dangers and misses, pitfalls and precipices, keeping the vampire beats. Dangers, pitfalls and precipices, keeping the vampire beats.
Welcome to episode 20 of the Conquest of Popcorn. I'm Pinko.
And I'm Barda.
And today we are going to talk about a completely ridiculous movie.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like watching a really, really ridiculous movie. But first, Barto, how was your week?
I'm getting up we're both doing this, and you feel it. It's just weird. Getting up at like 4:30 in the morning.
There's no light then.
It's fucking odd. It's odd as hell.
And then we walk to work.
Yeah.
Our separate works, but we have to go the same direction. And it's like deserted in the city. It's weird. The only people out are people having a very bad time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's it's nice because like I've been doing this for a couple weeks now, and like my brain is finally doing the thing where it's like 10:30 or 11 and it just starts saying like you need to go to bed, because sleeping 5 hours a night is not, it doesn't work.
I mean, even going to bed at 10 is too late.
Yeah, but like that's acceptable. But
with how many hours I'm working, like if I go to bed at like 8 or 9, like in order to get a full night's sleep, I basically just work, come home, eat something, and go to bed.
Yeah, which is
not good.
Yeah, that's not how we're supposed to be living.
There's no way to live.
Yeah,
it's like I saw some very awful person on Twitter yesterday talking about how awesome and efficient China's 996 work plan is.
Yeah.
It's not like the Chinese government. It's just like within like the Chinese business world, I think. Some podcast with capital in the title, I don't remember, was like championing this. Anyway, 996 means you work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. And apparently this has caused lots of productivity and increase in gains in China, but
weird.
Also people must... It sounds... I mean, I work like 6 to 6 and I want to die, but I at least get 2 days off.
Yeah.
And then I get a lot of holidays.
You get
it's
mostly
school.
2 days off.
Yeah, some days I don't. I did have to work. I had to volunteer at something last weekend, and I do Food Not Bombs every other weekend.
School other weekends.
Oh, yeah.
Food Not Bombs isn't like...
Food Not Bombs isn't bad.
It's not like work.
No. I mean, it is a little bit.
I mean, it is work. It's the work, but it's not like it's employment.
It's the good work.
Yeah, it's the good work.
But yeah, I get to work at 6. I get home at 6.
See, my jobs felt very cushy all of a sudden. Like, I started at 5:30 and I'm out by like 1:30 at the latest.
I mean, I get I get like 2 planning periods a day. So it's
Yeah,
like
but you're
2
still-
hours a day, maybe a little less than that.
You're still in the building. Like, you have to be somewhere, which is the hell.
I mean, I'm
you
usually
know.
doing like paperwork at that point, but at least like I can like listen to headphones, eat a snack, not talk to anybody for like an hour.
That sounds rad. I wish I could do that at my work, but like, there are people whose whole days are that. They work, they go to offices, and they put on earbuds, and they just fucking plug away at shit. And that counts as real ass work for them, and not like, you know, off time.
Where
or
am I in
whatever.
my life where I used to have a job like that? Like, now my life is like, when I get a moment to do that, it feels like a break. But, I mean, I'm also doing stuff that I find interesting. Like I keep notes on all of my students, so, because I have to call their parents pretty often. So when I call their parents, I like to have in front of me, like, what their child has done all week.
It sounds like something a cop would do.
No! It's usually good things. I try to say something positive
Yeah.
every time I call.
It's good. It's good.
I mean, some kids, like... Well, and it's also for me, like, some kids need special attention in some areas. And I want to...
I mean, I'm just joking. I really don't. I don't actually think you're a cop.
This kid was calling one of my coworkers 12 yesterday. She was so upset. She didn't know what he meant, and I'm like, it means you're a cop. And she's like, what? Like, you know, like F12? And then
Did
I
you
was
ask him that?
No, I know
okay.
what it means.
Oh, okay.
I was explaining it to her. Like, after the kids left, she was like, what the heck? Why was he calling me 12? Like, because he says you're... Because it was one of the kids in my, like, little group.
Mm-hmm.
And he found a moment where I was distracted because I was helping another student, and he went over to her little group and started distracting. So she told me, and then he said, you know, you're a snitch, you're 12.
Yeah, I mean, he's right.
So I'm like explaining, like, oh, it's from like the drug division in, I don't know, New York or LA or
I don't
something.
actually
I forgot.
remember where the 12 comes from.
It's like the 12th division or 12th precinct or something, but it was the police that were specifically looking into drug crimes.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm sure that's where it came from. I could be wrong, though.
I trust you on this. It's part of the podcast canon of history now.
Sure.
So you have to choose a coast.
I
Was
felt
it LA or New York?
I'm gonna
Cement
say
it.
it was in LA, but
In LA, okay.
I'm gonna say it. I'm
The
not
12th Division of Drug Crimes
sure. Or the police department. I don't know.
of the police department. That's where 12 came from.
Yeah.
That is history now. Congratulations in cementing another piece of podcast history. Yeah, the only other thing I've done this week, I'm recording.
Oh.
Well, what is it?
It's
You have
Atlanta or Oakland is where it's used.
Wait, yeah, I don't care about where it's used.
It
It's
means
used
fuck
everywhere.
the police drug unit. I don't know. Whatever.
Urban Dictionary not giving you the most precise answer there?
No, usually they're really good for this.
Yeah. That's
Well,
okay.
I felt pretty cool that I knew what it meant.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But also it was right on the tail of a child tricking me into saying a really bad word that I'm not going to repeat.
What? Okay, you'll have to tell me this off air because that's very funny. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, I'm recording music again, and that feels real good. I've been doing that for a while. It mostly is terrible, but some of it's, I think, my friend Pope Richard, who, good Twitter follow, good person, is putting out a compilation at the end of the month that I'm going to be on, I think. And so I'm trying to get some stuff together for that. Have some options when it comes time to pick the one. Yeah, how about you? Anything else? Seems like it's just been... We have a mouse.
Maybe. I didn't want to kill the mouse, but apparently our landlord came and put out poison. You should have told him not to. Why didn't you tell him not to? I was gonna capture it humanely. Somebody gave me this like video of like how to humanely kill mice, or not kill them, capture them. Not humanely kill them, just humanely capture them.
Nitrous oxide will do it. They won't feel a thing.
But like do it in like catch them in like large quantities. It's like you put out a big glass mixing bowl full of some kind of, or not full of, like with a little bit of like oil in the bottom.
It was like rice oil.
It was peanut oil. I don't even know. I don't think rice oil exists.
I don't know. Not yet.
Anyway, it attracts the mice and they climb in, and then they get all slippery and they can't get out of the bowl, and they all keep jumping in there, and then you have a bowl of mice.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to put them in a like plastic bin with like a little bit of soapy water in the bottom, and like that way they can like clean off. Mm-hmm. And then you're supposed to put them back, I guess, in the bowl and put them outside. But so the thing is that I'm a huge wuss, and I don't think I could like handle there being a bowl of oil covered mice in my kitchen.
See, I could do that. That's not a big deal for me at all. But it's purely dealing with that, because we'd have to deal with that at like, we'd have to get up early, and then
deal with that at like 4 a.m.
We'd have to deal with that at 4 a.m, which does sound fucking awful. In a way that like just like the handling of a mouse doesn't, it's whatever.
We can do
it's
it
a
on
mouse.
a weekend.
We can. That's true. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll stop the bait from happening. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. That's all the big shit, I think.
It's a bold fucking mouse. It comes out when we're just like sitting there.
Yeah.
We're like in the kitchen, and the mouse, like, we're sitting in the living room, and I just hear this huge clatter. And it's this mouse has leapt onto a pan that was sitting on the stove. It's just like...
Not a secret agent mouse.
It broke the social contract. Like, if it had just stayed in its hole until we went to bed early. We go to bed early as fuck, and we're never home. Like, there's so many hours that mouse could have just been running this house, and we would have never known.
The boss mouse would be... Yeah. I don't know, it's so funny to me. This mouse is like, this is mine now.
It's like
surveying
Ratatouille.
his land. I've never seen Ratatouille.
Oh, well, Ratatouille was a very bold little mouse. I think he's actually a rat, and he would just like come out like when people are just in their living room watching TV and steal their food, and then he got fucking caught because he was too bold.
Stupid rat. I see a rat. If there's a rat in the house, I would have a very different reaction. I would not be okay with a rat. And I've lived with mice before. I don't think I've told this story on the pod. You've heard
it's such a funny story.
But we used to, so I lived with this dude, one of my best friends, and there's this winter. Well, they shut off our power like in September, or not our power, our gas, which is where our heat came from.
Your roommate didn't pay the bill.
Yeah, and that got shut off in like September. And
in Chicago.
Yeah. And it was one of the colder winters I've ever experienced. It sucked. And I remember in like December, you know, it would be basically, it got to this point where like you'd get home and it's just as cold or colder in the apartment than it is outside. And so you just have to like get on the couch and like wrap yourself in a blanket, and you just wouldn't move for like the next 6 hours or 8 hours that you're awake. You'd just like sit and you'd smoke cigarettes on the couch.
How did you survive?
We went through 6 space heaters that winter.
Why didn't you just pay for the gas?
I was very stubborn. He fucked up. But whatever the case, there's this one night we're sitting there. We're all very stoned. We knew we had like a mouse or two in the house, but we hear the like squeak, 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 and we're like, we push the couch out of the way, and there's just a pile of mice that was under the couch, and they don't move. They don't do anything because it's too fucking cold for them in there, and they need to stay in this pile to stay alive, and we're just like, well, shit, you know, like, they could have come into any other apartment on this block probably, and it would have sucked so much less for them, and they're here, and I feel what you're going through right now, Mouse, so we just push the couch right back and let them be down there.
Oh my god.
We eventually had some more.
Who lives like that?
We had more. Me and the mice. We had more aggressive encounters with the mice later on. My roommate, he's kind of like he's a tall guy, and he's really afraid of mice. And he thinks of it as like the elephant and the mouse thing, like it's just a small thing that he can't understand. It's like it's too little, and so he really hated them and really wanted them out. But that night when we stared at them, we just felt like a mutual, a shared struggle that we were going through, and anyways, we let them live. So I don't really mind mice that much. That's all that is to say. Do you want to talk about this
absurd movie?
So it was suggested that we watch Lincoln.
That movie's boring.
Have you seen Lincoln?
It's about a president, so it's boring.
Okay, so eventually I'm going to watch Lincoln.
It was Oscar bait or something.
It was Oscar bait, but
I hate movies that are Oscar bait.
But a lot of...
No good movie has ever won an Oscar.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true at all. But right, I mean, it doesn't look like my kind of movie, but I bet it's filled with ideology and seems perfect for this program.
Pooch was saying we should watch it and just talk about how revisionist it is, and I love Pooch. They're right. Like, it would be a good thing for a leftist podcast.
It does sound like a lot of work, though.
But yeah, it just sounds like so much work. Maybe, you know what, they can come on and do this, but they have to do all of the research.
So we looked. Pinko figured this out. I don't know how we got there, but we discovered a bigger budget Abraham Lincoln movie. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yes.
Which was a $100 million movie. Somehow
$99.5 million.
The Steven Spielberg movie Lincoln was like $80 million, right? Is that what you looked up?
Something like that.
Yeah, this was a $100 million movie that made $110 million.
Not a lot. Like
it actually it's
kind of like almost
same story. So how did we get this exact same story with Starship Troopers? It's like the exact same budget.
I don't know, because we're just drawn to like Fool's Errand movies. Like somebody's very big, well-funded idea that everybody should have known wouldn't do well, but for some reason.
Okay, so I do want to... I am like so curious, and after watching this movie, it's just like, how did this cost $100 million?
Because Tim Burton directed it.
No, he didn't.
Wait, isn't he something?
It's a Tim Burton produced film. It's by this guy named Timur Bekmambetov, who
There's
is
a lot of CGI
like
in it.
this Soviet former, from the former Soviet Union. He's done. God, what has he done? He's produced a lot of shit. Has he directed anything else of note?
They had to get the rights to Abraham Lincoln.
The Ben-Hur remake.
What?
Ben-Hur?
I don't know what that is.
A short film about Lincoln Park. Night Watch, which is another vampire movie, if I recall.
So this guy likes the word Lincoln and vampires.
I didn't even think of that connection, but yeah, Night Watch is another.
The spelling is irrelevant here, but.
But yeah, we. So we're gonna try and keep this one short and sweet, because like both everything and nothing happens in this movie.
We should just read the children's reviews that I found.
That are just... Where did you find those?
You wanted to know what the name of Lincoln's child that died was.
Oh, right.
So I googled the name of the movie plus child, and I got, like, the top thing was children react to Abraham Lincoln vampire movie.
And it was just, like, listing the swears in it, right?
Yeah, most of the reviews were just like, so they say 3 F-bombs, and you see 1 titty, and there's this
you
much
don't even
blood.
see a titty.
No, I know, but it's just purely, like, the things that children are looking for in movies.
Right.
The bad stuff.
Right. See, as a child, I was only seeing movies for their ideology.
Shut up.
Some of
You
us
were
started
not.
young. But yeah, this movie stars Benjamin Walker, who is another, like, he plays a minor role in that, like, really silly Clint Eastwood movie, Flags of Our Fathers. He's
Wait, is he the guy? No. Who's the guy who's from... Oh, it's the other guy. The one who was in A Knight's Tale.
Oh, well, there's a couple people in it from A Knight's Tale, actually. There's
love that movie.
Rufus Sewell, who's the bad guy in A Knight's Tale, who's also the bad guy in this. And then Alan Tudyk, who is... in this, plays just like a pretty minor role, like Mary Todd Lincoln's boyfriend, who Abe kind of sways her away from, but he's also the, like, poet guy in A Knight's Tale or whatever.
Yeah.
Is he a bard? Would you consider that a bard?
Maybe?
Okay, but whatever the case, he chose to remain.
The guy who's naked all the time. in that
Yes. But he chose to remain uncredited for this film.
Because it's a terrible film.
Yeah, not a terrible choice. I mean, he should have just, like, stepped out pretty early on.
He also plays, like, a racist in this film.
Right.
So that's the cool thing about this movie is all of the vampires are, like, Confederate slave owners.
Right. So...
And also, one of the vampires is like, we can't abolish slavery because then the vampires will come after the white people.
Right. So let's setting the scene. They start with Abe Lincoln as a child in Indiana, where
Illinois.
No, they start in Indiana.
They start in Indiana? I thought they started in Illinois.
No. Start in Indiana.
Wait, my coworker's tattoo is all wrong.
Well, Abe Lincoln was born in Illinois.
Oh, okay. So I have a coworker from Illinois who has a tattoo of Abe Lincoln, and it's so dorky.
Yeah, it's very dorky.
He's so dorky.
Real Illinoisians don't give a fuck about that guy.
He also has a Cubs tattoo and a Chicago flag tattoo.
Real Illinoisians often have Chicago flag tattoos.
Podcast. He'll be so mad.
That's okay. But yeah, we start and we get this really inaccurate view of Abe Lincoln's family. Abe Lincoln,
An only child
in this. And in real life?
No.
I don't think so. Okay.
No. Definitely not.
So
he
there,
lived in a cabin in Indiana.
So
he must have had like 25 siblings. I don't know how many.
He had some siblings. But so in real life, they moved to Indiana. The Lincoln family moved to Indiana after Lincoln's dad basically kept losing property in Illinois due to, like, his inability to appeal his property law. I couldn't quite figure out what, and I didn't care enough.
They moved to Indiana for tax reasons or something like that.
Essentially. Well, he said that there were just, like, stronger laws to let him be able to keep... I think the bank just kept taking stuff away from him, but he was a regular property owner. He was like a citizen in all senses, including, like a business owner. He's a churchgoer. They belong to this separate Baptist church, which...
this is the best thing.
Well, they're an anti-slavery church.
Okay, the church is opposed to slavery, but Abe Lincoln's dad
was worked in the slave patrols and a prison guard of some kind. But in this movie, he's at the lower end of the rope. We introduce, young Abe watching his friend Will, who's a young black boy.
Best childhood friends.
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln and Will.
Will Johnson.
This movie has the most, like I didn't want to do regular Lincoln because I just didn't feel like talking about revisionist history in a serious context, but this one has some pretty serious revisionism too, plus vampires.
Well, Will Johnson in real life was Lincoln's, driver and servant.
Not his best friend from childhood.
And, not his black friend. His OG black friend. But Will is getting, whipped by their boss, their mutual boss. Because Indiana is not a slave state. So Will is technically free, even though he comes back seemingly not free. But whatever the case, Abe intervenes because he was born anti-racist, and then he gets whipped too, and then Dad intervenes and quits or whatever, and he can't pay back the debt that he owes this boss, who is, God, what was his name? Was this Bartz? I think it was Bartz. Yeah, Jack Bartz. And Jack Bartz is just like, well, I'll find a way to get it out of you. And Lincoln's mom has this until we're all free, none of us are free thing, which is just definitely, I'm sure that they had some sort of a sensible anti-slavery stance, but who's that quote mostly attributed to? You knew it the other night.
No, I was thinking of an Audre Lorde quote, but that isn't it. But I will just keep talking, and I will find it for you.
No, you just find it.
No one is free until we're all free. Who didn't say it? Here's Martin Luther King, here's Angela Davis, here's some white lady.
Was the white lady Abe Lincoln's mom?
No, I think she's just talking about Martin Luther King.
Oh, okay.
But her headshot came up.
But whatever the case, this guy who's the boss...
I think it's actually Martin Luther King Jr.
This guy who's the boss, Jack Bartz, it turns out actually a vampire, and Abe sees his mom get bitten in the middle of the night by their boss, who wears sunglasses.
Capitalists are literal bloodsuckers.
Well, okay, so that's part of
Malcolm X was right.
The incomplete critique of this film, which we're gonna get to. But yeah, we see his mom actually died from milk sickness and not vampire bites.
Sure. Milk sickness. You
know,
can't see it, but I'm doing air quotes.
Milk sickness, I think, is actually pretty gross to see. It's like you tremor and convulse and get
much like if you were bitten by a vampire.
You don't throw up after a vampire bite.
How would you know?
Because I watched a season of True Blood.
I'm sorry.
And I read Bram Stoker's
Me too.
Dracula.
I read that for my 8th grade book report because I was a nerd.
Yeah, I read it at a pretty young age, and I hated it. I kept trudging
really
along.
Boring.
It sucked.
Why? Nobody should ever write anything in journal format.
Yeah, they're all this I'm practicing my shorthand, you know, and so they're writing in shorthand. I'm like, why the hell would you do this? Just write the book.
I don't know. There needed to be some premise for why he was keeping a journal, because no normal person would ever keep a journal.
It was you've never read House of Leaves.
It was important because it kept Dracula from being able to just read his journal.
Was that it?
Because he couldn't read shorthand.
Yeah, but neither could I.
It wasn't written in shorthand.
Yeah, there were definitely...
There might have been a couple parts
There
where
was
but they
lots.
like translate it.
I don't know. Whatever.
I remember
hated
asking
Dracula.
my aunt about it because she was like a secretary since like probably like the 70s or 80s. And
When Dracula took place.
No, but like when people were actually using shorthand,
Okay.
she knows how to write in shorthand.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So she translated it for you?
No. The copy I had translated it for
okay.
me.
Got it. Whatever the case, Lincoln is freaking mad that his mom is drained of blood and then dies.
I mean, yeah, I would be too.
And we cut ahead to a very drunk older Lincoln with a gun.
At like a bar. I'm sorry, did bars exist like it looks just like every bar in every college town ever, except that everybody's wearing old-timey clothes. And there's lots of candles.
I
Which
think,
you would not have in a bar now because somebody would knock them over and kill everybody.
but back in the day, you would have to have bars with candles. You know,
But did they have like a bar that you walked up to and ordered a drink and sat there looking sad and like... I don't know.
I would say yes.
It just looked very modern to me.
I would say yes.
Okay.
I think it did look pretty modern. I think they probably just used an existing barn. But...
Yeah, it looked like they had, like, they went to, like, Brooklyn, where they had a bar that was made with, like, reclaimed wood.
Yeah.
And they put straw on the floor just for funsies.
Yeah. At this bar, we meet our side main character, whose name is Henry Sturgis, played by Dominic Cooper, who's another just struck me as a no-name. But let's see if I'm actually correct about that. I'm not really
Wait, go back
sure.
up. I want to see his picture.
Looking
that guy.
kind of like a scumbag.
Yeah, he looks really creepy. I feel like he's supposed to be charming and dashingly handsome in this, but to me, I'm like, that guy, he looks like the way too old guy at a college party. Like the 30-year-old who's hanging out with, like, freshmen.
With like 18-year-olds.
Yeah, like he's like a grad student and just only hangs out with undergrads for some reason.
He also looks like he knows magic tricks, like lots of magic tricks.
Oh yeah, definitely. He knows magic tricks.
He's in.
He also, I mean, actually, a grad student. I don't know many
Nothing
grad
good.
students that would do such a thing, but I bet he listens to Jordan Peterson.
He's in the deleted scenes of Mamma Mia.
The deleted ones. Yeah, because they were like, this guy looks creepy.
Captain America.
He's dating an 18-year-old.
I don't know. Whatever the case, I thought it was pretty clear early on that this dude was a vampire.
Because he's wearing sunglasses.
Yeah,
In the 1800s.
Yeah,
when they
sunglasses.
didn't have sunglasses.
Would you say 1930s? Sunglasses
1920s, I think.
20s. Sunglasses came about.
There were like precursors to them, but they were not meant to like protect your eyes from the sun. There were like tinted lenses that they thought would correct vision.
Oh my God, those goofballs. But yeah, so we have our hero Abe, who is not built like how I want Abe Lincoln to be built. Like tall and lanky and gangly. Instead, he's kind of, I mean, he's not like short, but he's kind of broad and he's not.
You just want Abe Lincoln to look like you.
No, that's not it.
His face looks kind of Abe Lincoln-y though.
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't know. It would be really cool if we had like a vampire hunter who was like 6'5" and like his arms were like a little too long, and you know,
and he was like 150 pounds, but he was 6'5".
Right. Right. Yeah, that would be way cooler. Instead, we have this just like fairly average looking dude who doesn't really strike me as very Lincolnish or anything like that. Whatever the case, approaches Mr. Jack Bartz and tries to kill him with a gun, and Jack Bartz goes all vampiric on him. And our dude Henry comes out of nowhere and performs a fantastic act, and looks like he throws him into the moon. I don't think he doesn't, but
yeah, but like he like throws him up the side of the barn, and dude like creates just this like tear in the side of the barn on this way up,
wood,
and just all of this wood is flying everywhere. It defies physics. It's amazing.
Again, how we're supposed to not think right away that this dude is definitely also a vampire.
Like he definitely has some sort of supernatural abilities.
It was beyond me. But and so our hero Henry teaches Abe to be a vampire hunter. He lets him in. The secret that there are vampires everywhere and they're fucking all over the place, and they've always been here. But
first, wait, this is after Abe goes back to his house with him or something.
He wakes up in his house and then like catches Henry like fucking in the tub.
Which there's no reason for this scene.
No.
The woman is completely superfluous to the plot. But I mean, I guess it's just to cement it that this guy is like cool. But
yeah,
like, do vampires have sex?
No, I don't think so.
Do they have blood?
Oh, to get... Oh, like, I don't know. Could a vampire get hard?
Don't you need blood to get a boner?
I wish we had a guest on who was a doctor.
I mean, I know that you need blood to get a boner.
No, but
that's how it works.
Yeah, but like...
But do vampires have blood in their veins?
And that's what I'm saying. I think a doctor could tell us that.
I guess when he like slashes them with his axe, they bleed.
That's true. They do bleed a lot.
It's like really gross black blood, though.
But I assume that's like indigestive blood. They're just like digesting it all. And like if a vampire hasn't fed for a while, probably couldn't get an erection. That's my guess.
You know when you like get a new medication or something, and one of the things that's on the side effects, it's like seek medical attention immediately if you have vomit that looks like coffee grounds.
No,
because it means
I've hardly ever taken a medication for anything.
It's because it means that your stomach is bleeding, and that's just like clotted blood. And it occurs to me that vampire vomit looks like coffee grounds.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
This is a very weird tangent. I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
I haven't been sleeping.
The physiology of vampires is like, this is the only potentially interesting outcome of this.
I want to know about their day to day, like their physicality. Like, how's it feel when they get up in the morning? Do they want coffee?
Well,
like I do.
Well, and that's one of the weird things about this is that it's not about like the only thing that's stopping them from being out in the sunlight is not wearing sunglasses. Like,
do they poop?
Oh, that's a good question.
Wait, you know what movie should have answered that?
What we do in the shadows or whatever?
Yes, because I want to know, like, not only what do you do in the shadows, what do you do in the bathroom?
Yeah, what do they do in the bathroom? I don't know. I gotta imagine vampires aren't pooping. I'm gonna make a strong...
Well, then where does the blood go? Like, what do they need it for?
It's just...
like, I thought it was just food.
Well, they're all fucking... Vampires generally are fucking built. And you don't, like, see them... Like, they're not hit in the gym.
So it just immediately goes to muscles?
I think it's just making them, like, strong. Yeah, their body is absorbing it and turning it into muscle or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I gotta imagine. They're not pooping, like, little blood turds.
Damn, being a vampire sounds pretty sweet.
It does.
You live forever. You don't have to poop. I mean, I really wouldn't want to just, like, eat people, but...
I don't know.
I could do like our vampire friend in this movie and only eat bad people.
Yeah, I mean, we only see him feed once, and it's someone who's about to like assault a lady.
Yeah.
And he intervenes, and the lady is still freaked out.
Well, yeah.
But the assailant is thoroughly immobilized.
And killed.
And killed, yeah. So presumably he's just like a vigilante justice vampire. Yeah. I don't know. It still sounds hard. You start making like real weird ethical decisions. I don't really believe in capital punishment or I guess that's not capital punishment.
Blood?
No.
Oh.
No, that's the thing. It's like people blood. It's got to be people blood. The only prey worth getting at.
In the Anne Rice books, they can eat animal blood.
Oh, yeah.
They just like the people blood because it's tastier.
Those books... Well, I've never read the books.
I'm pretty sure.
I have seen Interview with the Vampire, and I absolutely fucking hated that movie.
No, yeah, the Anne Rice novels aren't good. I mean, they're good, like, if you want, like a trashy romance novel, which sometimes those are fun. But yeah, I don't know. Wasn't that lady that died? In a plane crash or something? Aaliyah?
Yeah, Aaliyah was in Queen of the Damned.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Whatever the case, after some training, Abe gets sent to Springfield with like a list of people to take out, and he goes looking for a room from what's his name, Joshua Speed, played by Jimmy Simpson, who plays one of the McPoyle brothers in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah,
like one of the milk drinking weirdos who the alt-right just sort of like look to for inspiration. But if the Lincoln heads out there will recognize Joshua Speed as Lincoln's very long-time friend who he often shared a bed with, and there's a lot of, I'm not going to be one of the people who like makes a definitive statement on this either way, but there's a few Lincoln scholars out there who were like, Lincoln was gay and Joshua Speed was
like the Log Cabin Society.
What?
Or Log Cabin Republicans.
Is that what a log cabin Republican is? I don't think so.
Republicans.
Yeah, but I don't think that's
where
it.
they got the name.
I don't think so.
Like Lincoln was born in a log cabin.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty sure that's.
I don't think that has anything to do with Lincoln being gay. I don't think they have any interest in that. In fact, I think that.
Why do they call themselves that?
I'm not sure. I don't know why log cabin Republicans are called that, but if you do have the correct answer to this, I'm very into it. But yeah, they for some reason like the fact that they don't bring up that
the group initially proposed to name themselves Lincoln Club, but found that name was already in use by the Lincoln Club of Orange County, another California Republican organization. So the name Log Cabin Republicans was chosen as an alternative title.
Okay, but what does that have to do?
This designation calls attention to the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln. The Log Cabin Republicans suggest that Lincoln founded the Republican Party on the philosophies of liberty and equality. Yeah, right. They also think he was gay.
Wait, what? I don't really think that they think that. Why are you making this assertion? It's so strange.
Lots of people think that Lincoln was gay.
I don't think that many Republicans think he is gay.
I really thought that's why they called themselves that. I guess it was the equality thing. He's the only good Republican.
Yeah.
He's the only Republican that hasn't gone down in history as an absolute monster, so that's who they named themselves after.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But them being like, we like the queer president narrative, so we're calling ourselves Log Cabin Republicans is a little strange. But would be cool and interesting, and I might give them a tip of my hat.
Okay, this is definitely at least a common misconception.
I've never heard this before.
What?
I've never heard this idea.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna text somebody else and ask why they think it's called that.
Okay, I'm gonna encourage you to do this. I hope they get back to you at a very reasonable time.
Okay, keep talking.
Okay, well, whatever the case, Lincoln rents a room and basically starts hunting. There's a number of scenes. He's hunting vampires with like a silver-tipped axe. because he's decided he's not good with a gun, which doesn't really make sense because he definitely in real life was a soldier. At night, he's doing all this and studying law while he works in the store during the day, to pay for his room. And
he's complaining about how shitty his wages are.
Which
I understand.
Mary Todd makes her appearance. They don't ever bring up that she comes from a very wealthy slave-owning family. He actually meets her like in real life in like Kentucky or something like that.
Did Mary Todd really come from a wealthy slave-owning family?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did she bring slaves into their marriage?
I don't think so, because I think they only lived in places where slavery was not allowed.
Okay.
But, so yeah, there's this whole. We're gonna jump ahead because I think unless there's like big things in the middle that you think are crucial, but
just that the vampire throws a horse at him.
Right. Yes, we're coming to that.
He literally, they're in like a horse stampede fighting, and the vampire grabs a horse by the hoof and swings it around at Lincoln. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's a scene that it's really reminiscent, I thought, visually, of the wildebeest scene in The Lion King, in that the horses in this. So this is when he finally gets to confront his dad's old boss again, Jack Bartz, and for whatever reason they spook some horses, but there's hundreds of them. It's a very
they're like in a it's like a Lion King type scene with the wildebeest.
Yeah, they're all over the place, and they're like the Abe Lincoln and this vampire like running atop these horses and like fighting each other while standing on them. I don't know, none of this, and it's all filtered so many times. Every single shot in this movie, that's where all the money went, is that they bought all the filters that they could put in front of a camera lens, and they put them all on at the same time.
But filters aren't that expensive.
In every single scene, and it just like it's the only way I can imagine them spending so much goddamn money, but I don't know.
There's also the sexy vampire lady, which also pretty superfluous to the plot. She has 4 lines.
That's who I was gonna get to.
And she wears leggings all the time in the 1800s,
which is cool.
Yeah, I mean she looks great, but I don't know.
So
people would have thought it was weird. But I guess she was also wearing sunglasses and a vampire, so...
Yeah. So, you're referring to Vedoma.
I'm just bitter because I'm not allowed to wear leggings at work.
I'm sorry. I am sorry. I wish I could wear leggings at work, too. I don't really.
You don't wear leggings at home.
No. I just wear jeans
That's a lie.
everywhere
Barto
all the time.
Wears leggings constantly. He looks great.
I would. But, yeah, that's Vedoma, sister of Adam, who are 2 wealthy...
slave-owning vampires.
Yeah, slave-owning vampires. Who has... they have Abe in their sights. And they draw him down by inviting him to this party and they're in New Orleans or something like that.
Didn't they also kidnap his friend first?
I think it seemed like Will was there consensually.
Oh, why the fuck would he go?
This was all sort of beyond me.
I kind of spaced out at this point, and then I came back to it, and I thought that the reason he agreed to go was that they had kidnapped Will. I
was confused by all this too. And I was pretty much paying attention to this whole thing, but we show up and Will is chatting with strangers at this big old mansion party in New Orleans, and then there's all sorts of black men, white men, black women, white women at this party, and then all of the white people suddenly turn into vampires and start guzzling. And Will makes it. Abe breaks in, and there's a incredibly stylized battle, and eventually Abe and Will are subdued.
Yeah, the sexy vampire lady puts a chair over top of Abe and then stands on him.
Yeah, which,
Kinda.
First time we see Lincoln turned on in the movie. It's weird. But they go into... And this is really where I think the ideology begins, like, strong. And we get Adam going over sort of the history of vampires and their involvement with the pharaohs of Egypt. And
he goes on all those like tropes about like why slavery is not wrong, because the Egyptians had slaves and the Africans sold each other into slavery.
Right.
And it was it sounded like listening to somebody's racist uncle at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
dinner,
And does
with
the
added, but also we eat those people.
Yeah. But there's also, I think they say, we're all slaves to somebody, or something along those lines.
Yeah, it's also something that... I'm sorry, I keep hitting the cable.
It's
Anyway,
okay.
That's also something that your racist uncle would say.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But they, basically chart vampiric involvement through the history of slavery and the colonization of the United States. Theoretically, I would imagine that the vampires are, in this timeline, responsible for
Colonialism?
well, native genocide and things like that.
I mean, I do like the idea that colonialism is like they are acknowledging the evil of it. But they're also making it like it was supernatural.
Right. And so there's this split that takes place where they're like, slavery, which is actually part of all of the founding of America, of the United States, for the beginning part of its history and how it was able to become the most fiscally prosperous state in like such a short fucking time. The fact that it was built on the backs of forced labor, and they're cutting that with like, no, these were the bad guys in American history. They're these vampiric forces that were, so basically the vampires are using the slaves as food, and so you have to keep the slave culture together so that even our friendly vampire becomes a slavery apologist in this. And like you were saying, if slavery is abolished, then we won't be able to contain the vampires to the south anymore.
Yeah.
They'll just go everywhere and eat everything.
And he's saying this when Lincoln is beginning his political career as an abolitionist, which is absolutely not true.
Right.
He did not begin it. I mean, I don't know that he was like pro-slavery or anything, but he was not on soapboxes in the street being like, we've got to end slavery.
No, definitely not. In fact, he was
those people weren't going into politics.
No.
Or getting elected for anything. I don't think. Maybe a couple of them.
He maintained, as far as I understand it, the abolition of slavery for the start of his career was something actually I believe he believed in, but was not like, it was not one of his core tenets in like getting elected or anything like that.
No, I mean, I'm just saying he wasn't like on the front lines of the movement.
No, certainly not.
Which is what they kind of imply here.
He was one of the traditional, this is how the Republican Party flipped sides, is he slow legislative change to end slavery was like his actual position, is that over many years we should work to free an entire people from who are in bondage.
God, I hate that shit so much.
And it's the same thing. It's like, well, one day we're gonna have, you know, a healthcare plan that doesn't, you know,
allow people to just die.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the healthcare plan would be the new vampiric force now.
We could just do it, but
slow legislative change. Let's not get excited.
Yeah.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
It's completely in our power to just free the slaves, but
yeah, exactly.
we don't want to do it all at once. It's too much work.
But and so Lincoln is somehow very suddenly becomes president in this movie. I don't really remember.
Nothing happens to explain this. One day he's standing on a soapbox talking about how we should end slavery, and then the next day he's in the White House and he has a beard.
Yeah. He's been, the evil vampires had tasked him with killing his buddy vampire who's out of control. This is when he finally learns that his buddy is a vampire, and how he didn't know that beforehand is absolutely fucking beyond me, because he's the only person who Abraham Lincoln knows besides the other vampires who he's killed, who wears sunglasses
and also has superpowers
and knows everything about vampires. It turns out
he's never eaten with him.
Yeah, they've been buds for ages. They write all the time, but never.
It's the first thing I do when I hang out with somebody is we eat food together.
Yep.
Or at least drink some booze.
Yep. Well, I guess they drink. He was at a bar with him. That's where they met.
Yeah, he didn't drink though.
That's true.
Just Abraham Lincoln drank and was passed out.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? I forget. The reason that the reason that he hates all the vampires is he got turned into a vampire after the vampires ate his wife.
Yes. And
so he's telling Lincoln you can't have any loved ones or they'll come after your loved ones.
Right.
And Lincoln's psh, whatever. I'm gonna have loved ones.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna be so invested in my life that I become the president of the fucking country.
Yeah, he does it very casually. There's no being a lawyer, being elected to Illinois House of Representatives or becoming a senator or any of that stuff. We're just thrust into his presidency and thrust into the Civil War.
The Civil War, the vampires are on the front lines of the Civil War. That's the coolest part of this. The Confederate soldiers are vampires. Yeah, so it's not people that they forced to do this.
It's so we the president and his family and Joshua Speed is part of his cabinet, and Will is in the White House all the time, which is very cool. His black friend gets to hang out with him still that he's president. They have a child, Willie.
Yeah, he named the child after his friend.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. But
Wait,
yeah.
Did he really in real life? Do you think he named his child after his driver?
That would be really strange, but maybe. I don't think so. His name was not Willie in real life. William. Yeah, there are lots of Williams.
I once researched my family history, and everybody had the same name. It was really hard.
Yeah.
There were multiple sibling women named Mary, all alive.
It's just
at the same time.
It's just Bardos up and down in mine.
They were just all
Bardo.
5 women in one family named Mary. They just were oh, another girl. Fuck. I guess we'll call her Mary.
So you're the first Pinko.
Yes, nobody else in my family's been named Pinko.
That's cool. It's good to be first.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we learn. So the war is a mess, and Lincoln is depressed, which he actually was. He suffered from chronic depression, as far as I understand it. He had melancholy, as it was known at the time. But in a moment of desperation, fucking what's his name? the goddamn president of oh man, we did forget one important thing, is that Harriet Tubman keeps making appearances.
Yeah, Harriet Tubman is just chilling, hanging out with the first family.
I forget.
And then Lincoln has to hide his wife, and Harriet Tubman takes her on the Underground Railroad.
Right. I forget where they meet her initially. She rescues them from something.
The vampires.
Yeah.
The vampire party.
Is that where she shows up?
Yeah,
okay.
She comes into the party somehow and spirits them away on the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
To a safe place.
Yeah, but we have Harriet Tubman. But yeah, we have Jefferson Davis. That's his fucking name. Jefferson Davis making a deal with the evil Southern vampire Adam to get troops.
Yeah, okay, so I think something that's really interesting about, I mean, I mentioned this already, but about the Confederate Army is, so in this movie, the vampires are both, like, they're all wealthy plantation owners, and also they're, like, infantrymen on the front lines of the Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like there were way too many vampires per plantation. Like, you know, there were a lot of soldiers. And there are only so many plantations.
And there were only so many slaves to feed all these soldiers.
That's true.
Like, this doesn't make any sense.
No, none of it makes sense.
And, okay, so, like, an interesting thing that I learned about the Civil War is a lot of people, if you were drafted, in either side, the Union or the Confederacy, if you were drafted and you had money, you could just pay somebody else to go in your place.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
That, I know, so like I said, I was like, researching family history. Like, one of my, like, ancestors was from West Virginia and got paid to be in the Union Army.
Oh, got paid to be in? Oh, interesting, to take the place. I thought you were going to tell me you had some old money hanging out. Oh,
yeah, we did. Like, some ancestors of mine, like, married into, you know, like, Howard County, Maryland? The dude that county's named after was married to one of my, like, relatives.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They were, like, there's, like, half of these people were, like, awful plantation owners, and half of them were, like, Quakers or something in the north.
Okay.
And then somehow they all, like, the little offshoot that became my family ended up being poor as shit in West Virginia. I don't really know how it happened.
Well, sorry you don't have that old
grace.
money.
No, I don't know. Like, whatever. I'm fine.
Good.
I'm glad that I didn't grow up like a proud
obscenely
descendant of slave owners.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Nobody in my family knows anything about their history. This was just like a pet project.
I'm pretty much the same way. My dad's side is like a total mystery. No one has any idea what's going on over there. My mom's side, we know a little bit more. And you know, mostly because it's like, I think my grandma was like first generation born in America Irish lady, and so that's all pretty easy.
That's like my mom's side.
And then, but my grandpa's side has been, they like came over on the Mayflower or some shit and became Southern Baptists or.
My dad's side of the family is like nobody talks to each other, and so everybody was like really curious. So I was like, fine, I'll look it up. I'll find it out.
They're old school.
Well,
yeah, I think my people just like became hillbillies over the years and like lived in Arkansas or something like that.
I think that's just what happened to a lot of like family. Like, I mean, so like part of how wealthy families maintain their wealth is like only one son gets to inherit the property. Otherwise, it gets divvied up over
and everyone
time.
else is just fucked.
Yeah, or like they marry somebody wealthy. I think that's how, and that, or you become a priest or some shit. I don't know, but like, yeah, like my family is just the descendants of like the people who just didn't inherit the shit.
That's okay. Getting way back.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. We have. So yeah, I would call this. You know, they're setting up this idea. This very easy metaphor for like the vampiric qualities of slavery, and like chattel capitalism, and I think they're like, it's just like an incomplete critique.
Mm-hmm.
It's all vampiric. It's all, obviously, institutionalized slavery is fucking like about the worst possible scenario one could imagine finding themselves in. But
we add vampires to it, and it's even worse.
Yeah, but like it's all of the United States was exploitive to like give this like north-south divide and be like vampires were in the South. That's it. That's the only place like truly unfairly extracting wealth and this weird quality is not fair and not really saying anything at all. What are you looking up?
What was the name of the slave lady, or the vampire lady, the slave owning vampire lady? The
slave owning vampire lady was named, I just had it. What did I do with it? Vadoma.
Oh, never mind.
Who is a model.
No, I mean not the actress.
Vadoma is the character's name.
Okay, never mind.
But yeah, Vadoma sneaks into the White House, posing as a maid, I believe, and bites Willie.
Kills the baby.
Which
this baby really died.
Yeah, it would have died
in real life. And then Mary Todd Lincoln got really into seances and the occult.
Yeah,
like in real life.
Yeah, and not this.
No, but she does want them to turn Willie into a vampire so that he will be alive again.
Oh yeah, she begs Lincoln. And this is somehow Abe has kept his whole vampire fighting past a secret from Mary Todd.
I mean, I think in real life they had a difficult marriage. It sounds like.
Yeah, it kind of sounds that way.
So.
I think he. I don't know. I read a lot about it today. He was very affectionate with her.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
He just traveled a lot.
Well, he was president.
He was president. That's why he's famous.
Yes, that is why he's famous.
That's why we watched this weird movie about him fighting vampires. But now we realize, and Abe realized, I mean, the death of Willie is like pretty fucking inconsequential to the plot in any way.
No, they just had to throw it in there to add like the tortured pain that we know really happened to Lincoln.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, like, okay, I don't want to sound cruel or callous, but like, first of all, didn't the Lincoln family lose like a bunch of babies?
Yes.
Like, everybody lost a lot of babies back then. I'm not sure if it was
4 or 5 kids. One, Robert Lincoln grew up and had children of his own, and then institutionalized his mother eventually. But all the rest of them, the next oldest one lived to 18 and then had heart failure at 18.
Jesus. I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what Willie actually died from.
What killed him?
I don't know. I did not look that hard into this.
But yeah, I don't know. Just like, I mean, I'm sure it was hard for people to lose babies, but also people.
Yeah, they lost like 4 babies.
Everybody lost babies.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you just expected that you were gonna lose some of them.
I don't know. They got pretty worked up about it.
Yeah, I guess.
As a couple.
They did.
I think they did.
I mean, it would be hard.
After the death of Willie, I think they stopped having sex.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's what I read. But he was only alive for a couple more years.
How would anybody know this?
I don't know. He talked to people.
About his sex life?
Probably. He also wrote poems. He wrote one of the most convincing parts of when I was reading about whether or not Lincoln was maybe gay or bi, was he wrote this like super gay poem about like a boy marrying a boy and some other boys marrying girls, but one of them married a boy. And
That's pretty cool.
it was cool, you know, it was cute. But it's also possible he wrote poems about laying pipe on Mary Todd.
Or not.
Or not, yeah. It's like, I have no more pipe to lay. Mary Todd, what do you say? But yeah, they're fearing the vampiric hordes.
I'm sorry, that was terrible.
It's bad. I'm not a poetry
Breaking
guy.
up with you.
That's fair.
Also, laying pipe, like, oh god, what a gross turn of phrase.
That's about the worst one I could come up with. But they raid. They don't know how to deal with these vampires, and then they start raiding like rich people's houses and taking all their like silverware and melting it down.
Right. This is how they're gonna fight the hordes.
Right.
So Mary Todd is in on this. She and Harriet Tubman are doing this shit.
Yeah. So they theoretically, it seems like our boy Joshua Speed is a traitor. You see him talking to Adam and telling him about this train full of silver that's going to be coming his way, which sets up for this really goes.
It's epic as fuck.
I think it just drags on
It's so
forever.
Cool. Holy shit. It's like a train chase scene. Like the secret agents fighting on top of the train scene.
Yeah, but it's Abe Lincoln.
But it's Abe Lincoln and a vampire.
Yeah, none of this
And then like
tracks
a
for
bunch
me.
of shit explodes, and they go over this like absolutely massive train bridge that's all made out of wood. That I don't know if the engineering to create such a structure existed back in the day, but maybe. And they light it on fire.
Yeah,
and it's so cool. And
it's a huge mess.
Then they find out that the silver is not actually in this train, and Adam is like, "Why did you lie to me?" And then what's his face is like, "So that I could get you all in one place."
Yeah,
then,
I mean, it was also like, why did they need to explain that to us once it became clear that there was no, like, they could just
there's like a couple other very corny lines in there.
Oh my god.
There was one, I don't remember what it was, but
Well, if it comes to you.
fuck, I don't know. It was really bad. You should watch this movie. It's got a lot of corny lines.
Maybe you
It's
should
really
watch
good.
this movie. But yeah, it was yeah, the silver was getting transported by Mary Todd and Harriet Tubman and like a slew of
Harriet
black
Tubman
women, her
and-
crew.
And Mary Todd Lincoln, the First Lady of the United States, were on the front
Yeah, they
lines
get to the front
of the
lines
Civil fucking War
and
with
distribute-
just tons of forks.
Yeah, I think it seemed
This
like
is
at first
true.
that they were smelting them, but then
They
kept
ran out of time
showing
or
shots of like vampires getting shot with forks and stuff like that. And silver bayonets and things of that nature. And you know, the war finally turns in their favor.
Wait, we forgot to say the ending of the train scene. So, like, most of the train has, like, fallen away, and it's still going up the tracks that are, like, the engine part is still going up the tracks that are barely hanging on.
God, it
And
sucks.
Lincoln and his best friend and his other best friend and a vampire are on this train, and they're running up this train that's completely slanted, and then they leap from the train to the little bit of track that's still there, and it's so fucking epic. And then the train falls down into this very, very deep cavern or cliff or something, and like the river below, and the vampire's like, "Ah!" Anyway, that's the end of that scene. It was just really wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's all of this is so visually over the top.
This is why this movie cost $100 million.
But it strikes me as something like if you, I don't have this command.
Ripped them off.
That what?
The CGI department ripped them off.
Yeah, it strikes me as something that like if I had a command of After Effects, I could do all of this. But without $100 million behind me. I just need...
I don't know, that train scene was pretty involved.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It just looked like a green screen. I don't know. What do I know?
Well, anyway, so then we cut to Mary Todd Lincoln and Harriet Tubman opening crates of forks on the front lines of the Civil War.
Yeah.
I just want to throw it out there again that the First Lady of the United States and the hero of the abolition movement were on the front lines.
I'm gonna look this up right
also,
now.
why wasn't John Brown in this movie? Like, John Brown would have been perfect for this movie.
See, yeah, there you go. Now you're fucking thinking.
Oh my god, what if he was just fucking shooting vampires with, like, with silver bullets? They could have just, like, created some ridiculous, like, machine gun for him to be using.
This was it. This whole thing made me think of this 2003 as article from The Onion. It says Bush bravely leads 3rd Infantry into battle, and there's this awesome picture of him in like fucking
like desert sand colors.
Yeah, desert sand colors and a gun, and there's just like quotes from like Private Tad Sharpling being like, Bush is the real deal, and when he talks about fighting for our freedom, he means it. He never asked one of us grunts to take any risk for our country he wasn't willing to take himself. But as soon as I saw
it's the first lady.
It's one-upping. It's
and she's like in like first lady clothes too. Like
Yeah.
she's wearing like a corset and a giant skirt, and
Yeah.
like her hair's all done up.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And immediately we started talking about like, oh shit, we get to see if John Wilkes Booth is a vampire. And instead
They fucking
just
bury the lead there. It just becomes a shitty commentary on mortality or immortality. Like, the vampire hunter guy, or the vampire friend is like, let me make you immortal so you can hunt vampires with me forever. And Lincoln's
let's
like,
be vampire
I don't need to be
homies.
a vampire to be immortal. And then a carriage pulls up,
He's
and
like,
Mary Todd is like, are you ready to go to the play, dear?
Yeah, he's like, take my diary. He gives him his diary where he's written down all his vampire hunting lore, and this
Does he know he's going to his death?
Well, no, I don't know why, but he just gives him his diary like normal bros do.
Yeah.
When you're hanging out with your homie and you finish writing in your diary, you're like, you give it to your homie.
You want to read my diary?
Who else are you going to trust to hold on to your diary and all your secrets besides your best homie?
And yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, then it's just like time to go to the play, and then we travel to
like
now,
and we make sure we know it's now because our vampire dude friend is on a cell phone.
Right.
He's playing with his phone, his smartphone.
Yeah, he's like playing a game or something too. He's like bejeweled.
And he's in like a fancy bar.
Yeah.
He's always meeting people in bars, and he meets his new bro.
Who's also
epic
drunk
vampire.
with a gun.
Yeah, and he drops it, and it's a Beretta instead of some like old timey musket.
Yeah. And then it just ends. I don't know. Nothing was learned except that the South was bad because vampires. Slavery throughout history has been something just like, it makes all situations incredibly black and white and easy to look at as any normal perspective because vampires are on that side.
That ending kind of made me think of the beginning of Interview with a Vampire, or no, Queen of the Damned, where like, is it Lestat? He like wakes up from like slumbering and he hears like it was like grungy cyberpunk or something, and was like, there's a new sound and I love it.
I bet it's like Dead
goes
Sea.
to a fucking club. It's really bad, and it was just the same kind of vibe that this thing had, where he's like cool, slick vampire, like perpetually hanging out with women that are way too young for him.
Like the Blade
vampire at the club.
Age of Blade. Before, like, vampires were supposed to be like nice again, like Twilight vampires. Like, we had Blade. Did you ever see the Blade movies?
Grungy vampire? No.
I mean, it's sort of like the Matrix, but vampires.
Yeah, it's cyberpunk vampires.
Yeah.
God.
I think it's the second Blade movie, the Guillermo del Toro one, where like the first scene, they're in the club and everyone, there's like an outsider there and they're like, normal club? This seems normal. And then the sprinklers turn on from above and it's just blood coming out the sprinkler that everyone's like enjoying, because it's not a normal club at all. It's a techno goth vampire club. Is there any other big takeaways from this movie?
I want to go to a techno goth vampire club.
Oh, God.
I just want to get out
you
all the
won't?
shit that I wore that I bought at Hot Topic when I was like 14.
Okay, let's go find that.
I want to get out the pants with the straps.
I'm sorry, I was trying to... in my head, I'm going that, like, apple bottom jeans and the pants with the straps, but that doesn't quite work. I was trying to think of, like... God, I don't know. What could you replace apple bottom jeans with? What's another, like, cool goth accessory?
Like, neon yarn in my hair.
And the pants with the straps. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Fishnet gloves.
Fishnet gloves and the pants with the straps.
With the straps. That's terrible.
Got the whole club, nobody looking at nobody, because it's a goth club and everyone's just kind of
On their
head
phones.
down and not on their phones. They're dancing just to themselves.
They're bobbing.
Yeah, I don't know. That was Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I watch it or whatever. Don't worry about it.
It was a fine film. You should see it. Oscar bait.
Yeah, absolutely.
$100 million budget, y'all.
As I was talking about in the last couple of weeks, hey, did you by any chance find anyone else who thinks that Log Cabin Republican was
Pooch said that they've heard that.
Okay, interesting. I think they're just being nice, but that's okay.
They might be. I asked them a lot of leading questions to get to this point.
I said in the last couple of weeks that we have some more cool interviews, dialogues coming up with some cool guests, and I still contend that is true. And we just had some scheduling conflicts.
It's my fault.
This week, and
it's because I am a workaholic.
Yeah, it's weird.
I need a fucking union or something.
Yes, you should unionize your school.
Oh God, they're gonna definitely find this podcast and fire me now that you said that.
Yeah.
Just a disclaimer: I'm not planning to unionize the school.
We'll see.
I'm too tired.
Yeah, so that should be coming up. Hopefully we'll get at least one of those in this weekend, and so we'll have that for you next week. But yeah, I don't know. Thanks for listening to this weird one. If you don't subscribe to us on the SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/the Conquest of Popcorn. We're on iTunes. Rate us, I guess, because that's what all the other podcasts say. Rate us reviews because it's nice. Follow our Twitter. Retweet our shit.
Yeah, I posted a really cute picture of my dog.
Yeah, there's a really cute picture of Penny on there. Who is our silent guest this week.
Yeah, she was very good.
She was very good.
She's sleepy. I don't know why she's so sleepy.
Follow us on Twitter. We're at popcorn_pod.
I said that already.
Shit. I'm at Elbarto Army.
I'm at Pinko_snob.
And we're the Conquest of Popcorn. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great week.